today it's going to be different.
Hi, I'm Drew Ferguson of the Hamilton Steelers. We've reached 2 consecutive CSL finals by beating the Toronto Blizzard. Today I'm very confident we can do it for a 3rd time.
And I'm Vic Rauter. Tonight, Game 2 of the CSL Eastern Final. The battle continues between Hamilton and Toronto, Chapter 3. Hamilton has won the first 2 by just a single goal. Now Randy Reagan battles Bunbury. Bunbury is through. Bunbury, he's there. Yes! There's the matchup. Costello back to defend, but Gasparini gets away. Bunbury is in the middle. If he gets it over, yes! This year, Hamilton finished 2nd in the CSL's Eastern Division, setting up a semi-final battle with the North York Rockets. Hector Cesaretta's goal gave the Steelers a 3-1 win in the series. So once again, the Eastern Final, Hamilton, Toronto, 3rd straight year. In Game 1 Wednesday in Hamilton, Gary Morrow gave the Steelers a 1-0 lead. It looked like Hamilton had their 2nd goal when Amadeo Gasparini broke away to beat Pat Harrington. But the referee called it back, saying no goal, calling dangerous play. Gasparini couldn't believe it. It remained 1-0. Toronto got the equalizer late 2nd half. Carl Fletcher beats Paul Dolan. It ended in a 1-1 tie. The series tied 1-1, now heading into the deciding Game 2. Foster's Lager, the Golden Throat Charmer, proudly presents the CSL playoffs on TSN. It's all going to be decided at Centennial Stadium. Game 2 of the Eastern Final, the Hamilton Steelers and the Toronto Blizzard. Hello again, everybody. I'm Vic Rauter. Welcome to Centennial Stadium on a cool evening. We even have the sweaters on for the first time this year. The Bunbury factor. That's what it's become known as. Alex Bunbury has been a Blizzard killer. Tony Taylor, the head coach of Toronto, knows that. He's standing by now with Graham Leggett.
Tony, in our last telecast, the Blizzard have lined up with 3 men at the back. Tonight against the Steelers, you're going with 4 at the back. Why the change?
Well, we expect the Steelers to play with 3 forwards, Domazetis, Bunbury and Gasparini. So we'll mark them and then play with a spare man.
Now, in the last 2 Eastern Finals, you've lost by 1-0 to these very same Steelers. Can you turn the tables tonight?
I think we will. I think we'll beat the Steelers tonight, and then we'll go on to the final.
Tony, thanks for joining us. Good luck.
Thanks very much.
Back to you, Vic.
Graham, Vid Horvat's Steelers lineup is intact. That's just the way he wants it, of course. However, Tony Taylor is missing a couple of key players. Joe Masher usually starts on the wing in midfield. He is out because of cards, while David Byrne, an 8-year member of the Blizzard, no longer with the team. He has returned to his home in Minnesota. The Bunbury factor. Will Alex Bunbury be the factor in this one? The Eastern Final Cup. That's what Hamilton and Toronto are playing for. Foster CSL playoffs on TSN. Game 2 of the Eastern Final of the CSL, the Hamilton Steelers and the Toronto Blizzard. Hello there. A good crowd on hand for what we expect will be a tremendous game. Graham, let's check the starting lineup for the Hamilton Steelers and head coach Vid Horvat.
Well, he's gone with his 4-4-2. Dolan in goal, Ian Yerro, Morrow, Ferguson and Bowen in the back 4. Pordy, Marinaro, Cesaretta and Gray in midfield, and Bunbury and Gasparini up front.
And the starting 11 for Tony Taylor and the Blizzard.
Well, they're going 4-3-3. Harrington in goal, Fletcher, McCallum, Penhusen and Landry, the back 4. Pignatello, Hooper and Falzon in midfield, and up front Fitzgerald, Bessie Solido and Sanchez.
And now our national anthem. And there's the starting keeper for the Hamilton Steelers, the 22-year-old Paul Dolan. There you see the goals against of 1 goal even, number 2 in the league, behind Paolo Ceccarelli of the North York Rockets. And the starting keeper for the Toronto Blizzard, he played every minute of every game this year. Pat Harrington, in his 3rd season, a member of the national team, an '88 All-Star, and he had 10 shutouts. Tonight's referee is Mr. Mike Seifert of Calgary. The linesman on the near side, Mr. Brian Summersby. The far side linesman, Eric Evans. And the 4th official is Mr. George Botic. It's fair to say these teams, Graham, do not like each other, and I suspect that we may see some indication of that.
Well, it's a man's game, Vic, and it'll be a tough game. There's a lot at stake. They know each other so well. They respect each other so well, but they'd love to beat each other so well.
The Hamilton Steelers in their traditional gold and black uniforms. The Toronto Blizzard in what has become their now traditional red and white, dating back to their days, of course, in the North American Soccer League. And we're underway here at Centennial Stadium. Fletcher on the far side puts it into touch. This field at Centennial Stadium in bad shape. You can see it. There was a game this afternoon, a National Soccer League game. It has a lot of bumps, a lot of holes, and it can be a factor too.
It can be a factor, but it's the same for both sides, and obviously the field will cause a few mistakes. Whoever capitalizes on these mistakes should win it. As we've said so often, in a game like this, the first goal is so very, very important.
Oh, the ball just slides by Bunbury.
Of course, we said that last week in our telecast when the Vancouver 86ers visited Edmonton. We said the first goal was important. Edmonton got 3 first goals and still lost that game. But tonight, this shouldn't be a high-scoring game by any means.
Bunbury and Fletcher battle on the far side, and the foul is called on Alex Bunbury, and it'll be a Blizzard free kick. Just underway, game 2 of this Eastern Final. The series tied 1 point apiece. Trevor McCallum upfield for the Blizzard, looking for Paul Pescisolito, who is playing in the middle. Trevor McCallum just gives it away, played forward for Gasparini. Gasparini tries the foot. Yes! And moving up quickly was Hector Cesaretta, or was it Marinero, number 22, who put a boot to it? But quickly, it is 1-0 Hamilton.
And the Toronto Blizzard caught napping at the back as Gasparini made a beautiful run. There's our net camera from behind. It could well be Alex Bunbury who gets the final touch to this. Yes, it is. Pat Harrington, no chance, as Bunbury gets on the end of Gasparini's cross. And after 3 minutes, it's 1-0 the Hamilton Steelers, and Bunbury has done it again.
Well, we talked about the Bunbury factor, and quickly it comes into play in game 2 of this Eastern Final. Alex Bunbury had only 3 goals during the regular season, an All-Star a year ago. Alex Bunbury gives Hamilton a quick 1-0 lead on a play that developed very slowly. The Blizzard defenders seemed to be really caught. They were sort of left short at the back.
Great run by Amadeo Gasparini. He moved wide. The covering defense wasn't there for Toronto. I'm not sure if he tried to shoot that ball or hit it hard and low across, but whatever his intentions, the result was absolutely marvelous, and Bunbury got up in time to knock it in. And Bunbury keeps his streak alive as scoring the first goal in every single Eastern Final.
Well, he has been and continues to be a Blizzard killer. Scoring after 2 minutes, Alex Bunbury. Pescisolito can't get away from the mark.
But one thing you have to remember, the last time we televised a game out of here, it was 2-0 Hamilton. About 15 minutes to go, and Toronto came back and equalized, made it 2-2. So Tony Taylor, I'm sure, not too concerned. He's seen this pattern before.
Fletcher with the throw in for Pescisolito. Trevor McCallum has moved up. Pescisolito is in the middle for the Blizzard. This free kick just coming from the edge of the box. And cleared away by the Steelers veteran Jerry Gray. Marinero at midfield. Chips it up, gives it away. Pignatello for Fitzgerald. And Fitzgerald guilty of the bump on Hector Chazaretta, number 6 for the Steelers. Chazaretta leaving the Steeler team just late in the season, returning to Argentina, and now has come back to rejoin the club for the playoff drive. Bunbury. Chazaretta turns and cuts it in, and it's headed away nicely. Falzon cuts it to this near side. Ferguson back to defend, and Pescisolito couldn't get there. Marinero for Purdy, near side. Gasparini is in the middle, and it's played into touch. And it'll be a throw-in. Charlie Falzon had 1 goal, the 27-year-old midfielder, in his 3rd CSL season.
Been out for a long time, Charlie, with a cheek injury, but he's delighted to be back.
Lucio Nero, nice job as Purdy cuts it across. And the offside flag from the near side linesman, Mr. Brian Summersby, as Gasparini backed in behind the defenders, and it'll be keeper's ball, and it'll go for Pat Harrington. Alex Bunbury with the goal at 2 minutes, and it's 1-0 Hamilton. Fletcher nods it forward, cleared away by Ferguson. And Bunbury hoping that Gasparini would break, and he wasn't. Trevor McCallum, the Blizzard captain, looks one way, goes the other. Now upfield, headed down by Guido Boyne, and into touch. Paul Pescisolito playing in the middle, and in previous telecasts you wouldn't play him there up front. You'd play him on the wing.
Well, I prefer him on the wing because he's very quick, and he's a little bit fragile to be playing centre forward, especially against a twosome of Gary Morrow and Drew Ferguson. But the youngsters had an outstanding season, and he can play anywhere.
Well, Pescisolito had 10 goals during the regular season, the #1 draft pick in the 1989 CSL draft out of the Scarborough Blues, but he is tiny at only about 5'9". And going against some of those big center backs, of course, like Drew Ferguson and Gary Morrow, and there are bigger center backs, of course, in the league, that's going to mean an awful lot of punishment.
5'9" is not tiny. If you're 5'8", as I've been since I was 15, 5'9" is not tiny.
Scott Landry with the throw-in for the Blizzard. Hooper, little one-touch for Pescisolito as they try and get it through, and now they go looking for the handball. And Mr. Seifert doesn't call it, as it looked like Ferguson or Morrow may have gotten their hand up on it.
Well, they called for the handball, but it hit him in the chest. There was no danger at all that they was going to get a free kick for that. The ball rebounds quickly. Ferguson controls it with his chest. You can see him actually pull his arms out of the way in case there was a danger of handball.
Bunbury at midfield collides with Hooper. Hooper for the Blizzard. To Falzon and back, and it runs into touch, and again the little camber of the field runs away towards the sidelines here, and it picks up speed.
Also, after the game this afternoon, Croatia beat a Quebec side handsomely here this afternoon. They put the sprinklers on now on a very hard field to wet the top of the grass. I don't think it was a good idea, because the players are going to come on with multi-studded cleats to prepare for a hard field. Then they find it slippery on top, and it's going to be very, very dangerous.
Alex Bunbury, the goal scorer, slow to get up as he takes a knock and trying to shake off something wrong with his right leg. Morrow clears upfield for Gasparini. Hooper heads it back. Panhusen, McCallum. Falzon. Pressured by Purdy. And now McCallum will play it to Harrington.
And that's going to be a matchup all night. Mark Purdy against Charlie Falzon. Both very good at tackling, both very good at checking back. They'll virtually cancel each other out.
Flicked forward by Pignatello, and it doesn't go. Play on, says the referee, as it looked like Purdy may have put a hand to it. And then Bunbury is charged with the foul as he collides with Fitzgerald here on the near side.
And Bunbury a little unfortunate to get the foul given against him for that, because he got to the ball, pushed it out, then his momentum carried him forward and bumped into, I'm sure it was Pignatello, but a little unfortunate to get the free kick against him, but it didn't come to anything anyway.
Guido Boyne with the throw in for Hamilton. Hector Marinero will take the free kick. The winner will go on to play either Vancouver or Edmonton in the CSL Championship. Game 2 in that series continues in Vancouver with the 86ers leading 2-0.
And of course, tradition on Hamilton's side, as you said in the opening, Vic, they've been in every CSL final. Haven't won one yet, but they've been there 2 out of 2. Only club who can say that.
Another throw in for the Steelers, who lead 1-0. Bunbury tries to get it across and can't. McCallum for Hooper, and it slides through. Jerry Gray for the Steelers. For Bunbury. And Bunbury again charged on the foul as he wrapped himself around Trevor McCallum. And there's the matchup for the Toronto defense. It's going to be the captain McCallum for the Blizzard against Alex Bunbury. Jerry Gray tees it up. This free kick from just inside the Hamilton zone. For Boyne. For Marinero, and Landry kicks it upfield for the Blizzard. A reminder to stay with us after the game for the TSN Turning Point this week, brought to you by Converse. Back to Centennial Stadium, Alex Bunbury's goal at 2 minutes has given Hamilton a 1-0 lead in Game 2 of this Eastern Final. The series tied 1-1.
And his goal could well be the Converse turning point right off the bat. 2 minutes gone. Bunbury gets his usual goal that he gets in the Eastern Final.
Jerry Gray cuts it into the box and punched away neatly by Harrington. Purdy tries to sneak through and can't. Ferguson moves up. Here's a chance. Gray. Jerry Gray. Harrington is there.
What a great save by Pat Harrington. Gray looks as if he wants to square it, decides to have a go. Harrington cuts out the angle, but more important, he holds on to it. Great save.
Gasparini, Landry battle, and Landry, the starting fullback, takes it and plays it to Harrington, who is now forced to come up with a couple of saves, or the Blizzard might be out of this one very early. Landry, being pressured by Marinero. Pesce-Solido can't get there, and Morrow clears it away for Hamilton. Fletcher keeps it in play. Sergio Sanchez, Pesce-Solido. Guido Boyne, Drew Ferguson over, the Steelers captain, to help. And the foul is called on the Steelers.
And Drew Ferguson saying, I didn't foul him, but the foul was for a little pick play that the Hamilton Steelers tried to play there. A little bit of instruction by Boyne as Ferguson took the ball away from Pesce-Solido.
Now the two big men on the Toronto defense have moved up. Landry, McCallum, as they wait for this cross. Sanchez takes it himself.
Not a bad effort, too. Paul Dolan said, he shot from there. I don't believe it. Watch this, folks. Would you shoot from there? Well, Sanchez does. He tries to bend it. Doesn't bend it enough. Paul Dolan right there to gather it, but not a bad shot.
Ferguson back for the Blizzard. We've played 15 minutes of this first half. Hamilton with the 1-0 lead. McCallum. Over the head of Ianiero as he goes looking for Fitzgerald, and then Dolan quickly out, and seeing Fitzgerald kicks it into touch.
Leave it.
Charlie Falzon made his side to try and throw this right into the near post, get a little flick on.
Falzon plants, headed down neatly by Sergio Sanchez, but on one bounce, Dolan was there. Bunbury can't get it through for Gasparini. Landry at midfield for Falzon. Fitzgerald and back, and Lucio Ianiero guilty of getting a little boot to Fitzgerald, and it's going to be a free kick for the Blizzard. Mr. Seifert says give it back a little bit, and Mark Purdy accommodates them. Falzon. Fitzgerald, little give and go. Now it's chipped into the box and way over the end line as they went for that far post. And it'll be keeper's ball.
And you wonder if that was a good free kick by Charlie Falzon, because he had the ball sitting nicely teed up to clip it to the far post. Instead, he pushed it to Fitzgerald, got it back. Then he had to hit a moving ball instead of hitting a dead ball from virtually the same place. A little bit of a waste, I would think.
Paul Dolan started the year in Vancouver. And on his kick, he loses his footing, and there's an idea of maybe what you said before about watering it down, because on his kick, you see, he slipped.
Well, the ground is so hard, the water's just lying on the top, and the grass is very slippery, very greasy, and at times this evening, I'm sure you'll see the players slip around.
McCallum. Pignatello tries to turn, and they can't get away. Chazaretta loses his footing as well. Fletcher. Throw in for Pignatello, and he gives it right back.
Well,
And
both these coaches this evening are missing some goal power. Vid Horvath has chosen to sit down Billy Domacetis, who'd got 13 goals in the regular season, and as you mentioned in the opening, Vic, Tony Taylor is without Masher and Byrne, who between them scored 14 goals. That's a lot of goals to be leaving out for both coaches.
Well, Vid Horvath's thought, of course, is that he likes Domazetis off the bench. It's a bit of a gamble to start the three strikers all at once, so he's going to keep him on the bench as they cut it across, and Dolan is there again for Hamilton.
And both goalkeepers showing that they're on top form this evening. The handling's been superb.
Gasparini tries to take the quick kick, and Mr. Seifert blows it down.
Mr. Seifert did him a favor, because the quick free kick wasn't going to come to anything at all.
Drew Ferguson plants it, has a look, chips it forward, has Gasparini, and it just runs a little too far. Pignatello on the far side couldn't control it. It'll be another throw in for the Blizzard, and the play right now a little slow to sort itself out. I mean, Hamilton gets a quick goal on a bit of a break, but they're really, is it the marking or are they just a little nervous, do you think?
I think they're showing each other a lot of respect, perhaps too much respect. It's not fair to say they're scared of each other, but in effect that's really what's happening. They know that either side can win this game. They've been so close all season. Everything is tied. Perhaps Hamilton have the edge in as much as they've scored one more goal than Toronto have in their meetings, but everything else is tied. Wins, losses, and draws. Everything is square, so they know that this game isn't over till it's over, to coin a pretty stupid saying.
Pignatello tries to get through and can't. Blizzard looking for the foul, and they don't get it. Purdy brings it back the other way for Hamilton. Guido Boyne. They played 4 games during the regular season. Both teams won a game and they tied 2. Mr. Seifert blows down the kick by Chazaretta. And they'll do it again. Of course, they tied the game on Wednesday night in Hamilton. A game the Steelers thought they should have won, a disputed goal, but in essence, you said that Jerry Gray tells you that the call was right and that the referee was proper in blowing the goal down.
Well, I looked at the replays and I couldn't decide why it had been disallowed, but on hearing the player's point of view, the free kick had been given for a boot up against Gasparini before he broke through to put the ball in the net. So in effect, had Gasparini heard the whistle, then he shouldn't have gone forward and put the ball in the net, because he only caused a lot of controversy. The whistle had blown, and it's easy to say he could have allowed advantage, but had he not given the free kick, then Hamilton would have been screaming too. So in a situation like that, the referee can never win. But I must say, when I looked at the replay, I couldn't decide why the goal had been disallowed, because Gasparini cracked a beauty. But that's history. It's all on the table tonight. The winner can go through to the final to play either Edmonton or Vancouver. It's got to be won tonight.
Hooper forfeits Gerald if he can get a one touch, but then he's just surrounded by yellow and black. Falzon plays it to the middle, and Marinero is there. He needed some support, and he didn't get it. Oh, Hooper is brought down by Purdy, and quickly out comes the booking by Mr. Seifert on Mark Purdy. And Mr. Seifert, not very dramatic about it. He just runs over and plants it right in his face and says, here, you got it.
You don't have to be dramatic about it. Mark Purdy trying to go for the ball, kicks right in behind Lyndon Hooper from behind. Referee Mike Seifert says, yellow card, don't do it again or it's an early shower. No dramatics, no waving, no histrionics, just yellow card, let's get on with the game.
Steelers play it back to their keeper, Paul Dolan. Guido Boyne.
And of course, if this game finishes up in a tie, it will go to 30-minute extra time, not sudden death. They play the full 30 minutes. Then if it's still tied, it will go to FIFA penalty kicks. So a decision will be made tonight, folks.
Jerry Gray at midfield. Pignatello with Sanchez. This is Lyndon Hooper. Pesha Solido. Fitzgerald, nice ball if he can get it across. Sanchez just couldn't get the boot there. Guido Boyne, and then Sanchez guilty of giving him a little bit of a tug on the far side. But the best offensive opportunity so far for the Blizzard.
Beautiful run by Fitzgerald. Nice early cross. Unlucky there to not put it in his own goal, but no red shirts following up to knock it in. Great ball by Paul Pesha-Solido. Great run by John Fitzgerald. Early cross, but no red shirts up to put it in. And Drew Ferguson, very fortunate. He didn't get a touch on that. It could have well been an own goal.
Amadeo Gasparini can't control it. Hooper. Ianiero battle, and the ball goes off the Blizzard midfielder Charlie Falzon, and it'll be a throw-in for the Steelers, who lead 1-0 on the goal by Alex Bunbury at 2 minutes. Purdy will take the throw in for the Steelers. Into a crowd. Chazaretta forward for Gasparini, nods it. Landry is there. Pesce-Solido takes a bump from Ian Yero, and the referee says play advantage, and then Fitzgerald can't get away. Pesce-Solido and Ferguson bump, and I suspected that we're going to see a lot of that kind of thing.
Well, that's okay. Pesce-Solido took a knock from Ian Yero. The referee allowed advantage. Paul says, okay, I'll have a go at you this time. Good for you, son. You give as much as you take. That's not too bad at all. I like to see that. Paul Pesce-Solido, the little guy, he refuses to be intimidated. Hit them back. I'm not saying be dirty, folks. I'm just saying let them know you're there. Don't be intimidated. If he takes it lying down, they'll knock him around all the time.
18-year-old Paul Pesce-Solido. Oh, the ball as they tried to hit Jerry Gray, breaking here on the right side, just failed to get through. Pesce-Solido couldn't get by Chazaretta, Ian Yero, and Morrow. It was just too much. And the ball for Purdy runs too far.
And right now, play just looking a little scrappy as the players try to do things a little too quickly.
Falzon gives it away. Bunbury into the middle, and McCallum is there to clear it for the Blizzard. Gasparini with Purdy, Bunbury, Marinero all up front. Chazaretta, little give and go. Gasparini turns and couldn't left foot it. Jerry Gray. Bunbury is in the middle. Purdy trying to get it across, and there's Harrington. Pesce-Solido, and he takes an elbow in the face from Gary Morrow. And the referee, Mr. Seifert, out it comes, the yellow card, and the Steelers, if they're going to rough it up, are going to face the book.
Well, that wasn't as bad as it looked. I tell you, Gary Morrow challenged for the ball. Pesce-Solido's speed had beaten him. Wasn't as bad at all. Good turn by the youngster. Gary Morrow tries to obstruction. Wasn't a hard knock. There was no need for him to go down as if he'd been hit by Cassius Clay. But the yellow card comes out nevertheless.
Panhusen.
In case people don't remember who Cassius Clay is, it's Muhammad Ali.
I was going to say...
Before he changed his name.
Well, I was going to say old-timer. You're the only one that remembers that. Landry plays it forward for the Blizzard. "17 minutes remaining in this first half. 1-0 Hamilton. Chazaretta with the throw in. And just some of the crowd on hand. The Blizzard supporters, of course. They follow their team all around Southern Ontario. Been following the team, of course, since their days at Exhibition Stadium. Lucio Ianiero makes a run from his right fullback spot, and Ianiero hustles and just loses the ball. And Ianiero now may get a warning this time from Mr. Seifert as he brought down Tom Van Heusen.
Well, that didn't justify a warning. I mean, what's Ianiero going to do? Let Landry just clear the ball? It was a good challenge. Landry mishit it into touch, then fell over, and Ianiero gets a talking to from the referee. I can't justify that at all.
Marinero played it through. Gasparini. Marinero, top of the box. Here comes Jerry Gray if they can get it across, and they can't. And Gasparini waited a little too long. He waited for his support, and it was too slow getting there. Chazaretta guilty of the bump, and it'll be a free kick now for the Blizzard. McCallum. Sanchez. Morrow over to Mark, and it goes into touch. It runs just so quickly when it heads towards those sidelines.
Well, if it's hit as badly as that ball was hit, it's bound to run out of touch. That wasn't a very good free kick at all. I've no idea what he was trying to do there, but whatever it was, it didn't work.
There you see the time remaining in our first half, just over 15 minutes. Foster's CSL playoffs on TSN. The Eastern Final, Game 2, the series tied 1 point apiece. Oh, nice little side foot by Pesha Salido as he had Fitzgerald here on the near side, but gave it just too much of a wrap. Ian Yero. Throw in for Bunbury in a crowd of red and white shirts. It doesn't work.
And just a reminder to our viewers at home to join us for the Foster's Player of the Game after tonight's contest. As always, I hope you'll join in with me and see if we can agree on the choice. Doesn't have to be the top goal scorer. Perhaps the player who has contributed most to his team's performance.
Jerry Gray gives it away at midfield. Pesha Salido trying to break through, and Dolan is out at the top of the area.
And if you look at the scene from here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yellow shirts, and Pesha Salido, the lone red and white one, right in the middle. Pretty tough for the youngster to get through that kind of covering defense.
McCallum heads it down. Played through for Jerry Gray as he makes the run and cleared away by Falzon. Fitzgerald, Hooper. Jerry Gray hustled back to take it away. Hooper now to the far side for Landry. As Pesha Salido, Sanchez, Fitzgerald all head to the middle. And finally the loose ball taken by Dolan. The foul is against the Blizzard.
And I'm rather surprised that Hamilton are not bringing Gary Morrow up for the free kick. Morrow, of course, scored the Hamilton goal in the first leg of this final. And Alex is getting a yellow card, so that's 3 Hamilton players who've been booked. Well, Bunbury gets the yellow card for complaining about this tackle. A little nudge afterwards, little kick back by Landry. It's Alex Bunbury who goes in the referee's black book with the yellow card. That's 3 for Hamilton, 0 for Toronto.
But on the scoreboard, it is 1-0 Hamilton. And isn't it always the way? It's the retaliation that referees see. Well, the Canadian Soccer Association is proud to announce the Gillette Soccer 2000 program this fall, with many instructional clinics to be held across Canada. First clinic is this Sunday in Winnipeg. There you see some of the others. October the 7th in Charlottetown, October the 8th in St. John's, Newfoundland, and October the 14th in Edmonton. The Canadian Soccer Association says it's open to people of all ages and all skill levels, and they recommend that you speak to your Provincial Soccer Association for more information on the Gillette Soccer 2000 clinics. Foul zone for Fitzgerald as he cuts to the middle. Ian Yero follows him across. And then you run into just too many yellow and black shirts. You have to lay it off sometime. Marinero through for Gasparini. Back for Bunbury. Gray. Boyne.
And Marinero was given offside there, a little slow to come back as the through ball was played. Free kick to Toronto. And that's got to be a foul against Fitzgerald. He complains to Mr. Mike Seifert, but it was like safety putting his hands up on a wide receiver. He made no attempt to reach the ball, just barged into Lucho Ianiero. Has to be a free kick against Toronto, and why you would complain, John, beats me.
And John wanted to pass along happy birthday wishes to Havilor, a family friend who is celebrating her birthday in Pickering. So we do that on behalf of John Fitzgerald, and we wish Havilor a happy birthday.
We do indeed. And if John Fitzgerald can score a goal for these Toronto Blizzards,
Great
what a
present.
birthday present that would be, wouldn't it?
You bet, and they desperately need some kind of present now because Toronto trail 1-0.
Well, I think soon you'll see John Fitzgerald move over to the right wing and try his luck against Guido Boyne, because he's really not having much luck against Lucho Ianiero. And speaking as an old winger, if you were having a bad time against one fullback, you switch wings and try the other fullback. So maybe he'll switch soon.
The foul is on Bunbury, who backed into Trevor McCallum. McCallum to take the kick for Fitzgerald. Still on this left wing. Cuts it into the middle for Sanchez. And then Sanchez gets a couple of kicks. One from Jerry Gray, one from Gary Morrow, and goes down in a heap.
And David Byrne and Joseph Masher are usually the players who take the free kicks from here. As we've said before, neither of these players are playing this evening, so it could well be Sergio Sanchez who'll decide to have a go and try and curve it over the wall and into the corner.
And the wall is just at the top of the box. Sanchez! Oh, and Dolan was there. Sanchez tried it himself.
And curve it over the wall and into the corner. He did indeed, but Paul Dolan reacts beautifully. Can't hold it, but he'll give away the corner. Great shot by Sanchez. Good reflexes by Paul Dolan.
Fitzgerald will take the corner. Dolan is out, and he withstands the challenge of Carl Fletcher, who came in looking for the header. It's 1-0 Hamilton. Foster CSL playoffs on TSN. Centennial Stadium, Vic Rutter along with Graham Leggett. Foster CSL playoffs on TSN. Hamilton leading 1-0 over the Blizzard. Game 2 of this Eastern final. Gray with the throw in for the Steelers. Looking for Gasparini to give it a little flick forward, but he can. Sanchez with the header to Pesce-Solido. Now the youngster trying to beat the veteran Ferguson. Pesce-Solido, and then he finally runs out of room on that far side, and it's taken away by Guido Boyne.
And I tell you what, that was an example of young legs being beaten by an old head. Ferguson just pushed him further and further away so that his angle was getting worse and worse, and eventually Paul Pesce-Solido overran it.
Marinero cuts to the middle, and then he gives it away as it's played back by Charlie Falzon. And the game now starting to open up after being a little scrappy in the first 25 minutes.
Well, soccer is very much like a golf game, Vic. The first 2-3 tee shots, you're a little nervy, a little edgy, try to steer it a little bit, you get little confidence. Then once you get into the round, you start to hit them a little cleaner, you get more confidence. Soccer's just the same. They start off very nervously, only natural.
Well, it's the biggest game of the year, without a doubt, as only one team will advance. This series tied 1-1. Jerry Gray for Bunbury, who heads it down, and Hooper is there for the Blizzard. He looked to play it back to Harrington, then saw a couple of yellow and black shirts. Chazaretta played it through. The offside flag. It was Gasparini right in the middle who was offside.
It had to be Gasparini because Jerry Gray had made a beautiful late run, and he's saying to the near side linesman, Brian Summersby, "It couldn't have been me, Brian." Brian said, "No, it wasn't." Over in the middle.
Gary Morrow upfield for Gasparini. Van Heusen, the former Steeler, tried to turn it back upfield and couldn't. Jerry Gray heads it. Van Heusen. Now Mr. Seifert blowing the whistle, and the foul is called on Gary Morrow, but it looked as if Pesce-Solito just may have slipped in that case.
He did indeed slip in that case. His balance wasn't set at all. He was in no position to jump for the ball, and Gary Morrow penalised unnecessarily there by referee Mike Seifert. But I think that Mr. Seifert's feeling a little sorry for the youngster Pesce-Solito. You don't have to, Mr. Seifert. The kid can play. Let him do his own thing.
Bunbury can't get away from McCallum's mark. The ball to the far side runs into touch. It will be a Steelers throw-in. Carl Fletcher, who scored the Blizzard goal to tie it on Wednesday at Brian Timmins Stadium. Another first-round draft pick, 17 years old, also out of the Scarborough Blues, along with Paul Pesce-Solito. And it's amazing to think, Graham, here they are, the Toronto Blizzard, and really the league is dotted with players of that caliber, but 17, 18 years old, and able to hold their own, starters on the rosters of many teams across the CSL.
They certainly are holding their own. We've got some great 17-year-olds throughout the league. We saw Winnipeg play their very first game in Victoria against the Vistas of a 17-year-old fullback. Just brilliant. Vancouver keep producing these youngsters. I don't know where they get them from, but boy, they've got some beauties. And right throughout the league, the youngsters are coming through, and it's great to see.
The ball into touch. Purdy will take this throw in.
And it's Lyndon Hooper's turn to complain now. He says, how could that possibly have been intentional when I was like 6 inches away from Jerry Gray when he hit it? But it's given nevertheless, and Jerry Gray will try and swing it to the far post for Gasparini.
Gasparini, Bunbury, they're all in there, and out comes Harrington to punch it away.
Punched it right off the nose of Amadeo Gasparini. Good goalkeeping by Pat Harrington. Made his mind up early. Came for it all the way. Positive clearance.
Bunbury can't control. Hooper is there. Chazaretta pushes it into touch, and it'll be a Blizzard throw-in. 1-0. Hamilton leading on the goal by Alex Bunbury after only 2 minutes. Hooper. And McCallum will take the free kick. For Sanchez. Morrow heads it away. Chazaretta. And Chazaretta upfield. Landry. He'll play it to his keeper Harrington. Fitzgerald. For Landry.
Oh my goodness me. Now if he's brought the yellow card out before, he's got to bring it out here against Scott Landry. I hate to say it, but Landry made no attempt to play that ball at all. Landry had been given a hospital ball. He tried to control it, miscontrolled it. Now Landry goes right over the top, gets Jerry Gray round about the midsection, and oh, Jerry says that hurts.
And there was no yellow card, just a warning from the referee, Mr. Mike Seifert.
Well, that's what I call inconsistency. If you book Purdy and you book Morrow and you book Bunbury, then you have to book Landry there for that tackle.
Bunbury plays it back for Ferguson. And Ferguson, seeing Sanchez and foul zone coming, plays it back to Dolan. Guido Boyd. Gasparini. Marinero makes the run. And then McCallum neatly takes the ball off of Bunbury. Gasparini. for Bunbury, and McCallum steps in between. Ahead for Sanchez. And it'll go into touch, and it'll be a Blizzard throw-in. The final moments of this first half. Injury time, and the foul is called on the Steelers. And Chazaretta getting a little talking to from Mr. Seifert, who has been busy here in this first half.
Mr. Mike Seifert has been very busy, but that's the nature of the game. It's a tense situation. It's the Eastern Final, a lot at stake, a lot of pressure, a lot of nerves. And he made up for giving away the free kick by blowing the whistle for halftime as soon as it was taken. So
it's halftime of the CSL Eastern Final. Hamilton on the goal by Alex Bunbury at 2 minutes, leading 1-0 over the Toronto Blizzard. And joining us now, Jerry Gray, being serenaded by a chorus of Blizzard fans up in the stands. You don't usually get serenaded like this, do you?
They love me. That's what I think.
It's rough out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very rough actually. The game's a pretty physical game, but you know, that's the way you expected the semi-final to be.
Jerry, you got the first goal in the second minute. A great start, but there's still 88 minutes to go. Did you sort of relax a bit after that, or did they sort of pick the game up a bit?
Well, I think that once we did score the goal, they did pick the game up, but we've had a couple of opportunities, and myself personally, I missed a chance. But you know, there's 45 minutes to go, and you know, we still got there's a lot of soccer left, so we got to keep in the game.
Now, the Steelers have had their number, Jerry, the Blizzard in the finals in the past. Is that something that you thought about as a team when you got into this game, that you're the more veteran side, they're playing under all the pressure?
Well, you know, they're the Eastern Division champions, and we're the underdogs, so to speak. So, you know, they are supposed to ones that have the pressure because they're supposed to win it and go through and meet whoever is going to win tonight in the West. But I think we're doing well. We're holding our own right now.
Jerry, there's 45 minutes to go, but Morrow, Purdy, and Bunbury have been booked. They have to be a little careful second half the way things are going, haven't they?
Well, you know, I don't think in a game like this the referee will give them another card. But you're right. You know, they got to watch their tackling and be very careful.
Oh, we apologize for that, and the fans here at the Centennial Stadium, Jerry.
Well, you know, they love me, like I said.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Jerry, if you were having a bad game, they wouldn't be booing you, so keep it up, son.
Thank you very much,
Jerry Gray, we appreciate your time.
Anytime.
Halftime at Centennial Stadium, and again, our apologies on behalf of the fans here at Centennial Stadium. Hamilton leading 1-0, Foster CSL Sunday on TSN. Game 2 of the CSL Eastern Final. Halftime, Hamilton leading 1-0 over Toronto. The series tied 1 point apiece. Welcome back to Centennial Stadium, everybody. Vic Rutter along with Graham Leggett. This one we expected to be rough, and it has been. And if you're a Blizzard fan, well, certainly the worst start possible if you give up a goal early, and that's what Toronto did.
Well, the Blizzard were dreaming in the first 2 minutes, and Amadeo Gasparini makes a great run wide. Now, I'm not sure if he tries to hit this ball on goal or cut it across, but Alex Bunbury doesn't argue. He gets up in time to knock it past a desperate Pat Harrington, who really had no chance on the play. It's a great move by Amadeo Gasparini. Mishits it a bit, but Bunbury, as he's done in every final so far, opens the scoring with the first goal. From our net camera, a new angle, folks. Watch Bunbury come into your picture, right into your living room. Ooh, pick that out.
The interesting thing was that you see Marinero and Bunbury were actually behind the Blizzard defenders. They were really caught short at the back.
Well, the Blizzard defenders thought when Amadeo Gasparini pulled wide that, okay, we just have to make sure that we push him wide, don't let him get a shot. He really didn't hit it very well. He hit it through Trevor McCallum's legs, but I tell you what, Bunbury got up, the rest of the forwards got up, and it finished up 1-0.
The Blizzard started to pick it up, I think, middle of the half, and they really had one good chance, and that was off a free kick by Sergio Sanchez.
Well, Sergio Sanchez is so good at bending this ball. Watch him dip it over the wall, but Paul Dolan, hey, he's a great goalkeeper. Doesn't hold it, but he saves it well. From behind the goal, we see this ball curve viciously. Paul Dolan gets across to it, pushes it safely out for a corner. If he'd parried it back into play, then one of the Blizzards following up could well have put it in. Good goalkeeping, but Sanchez hit it beautifully.
What about the roughness of the game? Jerry Gray admits that they knew it would be this way. Will it continue in the second half, or could they risk? I mean, they have 3 yellow cards handed out to the Steelers. Can the Steelers afford to play that way?
Well, I don't think it's been a dirty game. I really don't think it's been a dirty game, and I really don't think that the Hamilton Steelers deserve to be 3-0 down on bookings. I think that the referee at times has been a little inconsistent. If he'd wanted to book as harshly as he's done the 3 Hamilton players, he could have booked 2 of the Toronto players. So maybe things will settle down in the second half, but there's a lot at stake. And as I said before, this is a man's game, and it's played by men. And if you don't like the action, get out of the kitchen, as they say.
That's right. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. A reminder, of course, that the CSL's most valuable player will be awarded during the championship final. Question is, where will that final be? Vancouver? Could it be Toronto? Could it be Hamilton? We'll know after tonight and the action in Vancouver.
And the question is, who will the MVP be? Will it be Ted Eck of Ottawa? Will it be Fashanu?
Wow. My money certainly would be on Justin Fashanu after the performance he put on Wednesday night. Unfortunately for Edmonton fans, of course, a 5-3 loss to Vancouver.
Well, but if you go by tradition, the top goal scorer in the league has been the MVP, so Eck has literally won that already.
I want to ask you about this Toronto Blizzard and how they're going to play this second half. And before we do, let's talk about your program, Soccer Saturday.
Don't miss it, folks. Every Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, we have the English, the Scottish, the Italian League highlights, plus features from around the world. Great show, even if I say so myself.
Yeah, well. And then the soccer news, of course, Thursdays, 11:30 p.m. Eastern.
And if you'd like us to come to your sports club or community, give us drop a line to us at the Soccer News TSN, because we're doing the Soccer News out and around this year. We're not in the studio, so give us a call. We'll come and do it at your place.
The Blizzard playing with the 3 small men up front: Sanchez, Fitzgerald, Pesce-Solido. Is it time they bring somebody up from the back, say a Landry? They need some bigger men up front, or they need some extra people up front. The 3 little guys, Sanchez off a free kick certainly, but they're not generating anything, those 3 front runners for Toronto.
Well, you see, you keep annoying me by saying little guys. I'm a little guy. I'm 5'8". I played outside right, centre forward, outside left. Little guys are okay as long as the guys in the midfield and the guys in the back don't keep hitting high balls to them. Play the ball along the ground, and Fitzgerald, Pesce-Solido, and Sanchez will play against the biggest guy in the world and beat them.
Well, I say that, little men, because when you look at some of the other teams, a Fashanu in Edmonton, a Catliff in Vancouver, an Eck in Ottawa, a Gasparini here in Hamilton, a Tomic in North York.
Great in the air, yes, but Fitzgerald and Pesce-Solido, I'll take them against anybody given the ball on the ground. And there's 2 ways to play this game. You can knock the high balls in and let the big guys challenge for it, or you can play it along the ground as it was meant to be and let the little guys shine.
Alex Bunbury, the Blizzard killer, got the opening goal after 2 minutes, and that's the way it stands as we're ready to begin the second half. 1-0. The Hamilton Steelers leading Toronto, Game 2 of this Eastern Final.
And if Alex Bunbury's lone goal stands up, 3 out of 3 will be some record to be broken, folks.
And there have been no substitutions, we're told. The fans into the game here at Centennial Stadium. McCallum off the whistle, plays it for Harrington. Sanchez can't control. Pignatello. And right away, the referee, Mr. Seifert, calls the foul on the Steelers, and it'll be a Blizzard free kick. Sanchez again. Foul zone. Instead, tries to slip it through for Pesce-Solido at the top of the box. Sanchez, Marinero battle. Foul zone, slips it through. Fitzgerald, Pignatello. This is Hooper. Cuts it in. It's cleared away by Ferguson. Chazaretta for Bunbury. And now the Blizzard can't risk getting caught at the back as McCallum wins the ball. And then Chazaretta goes over top. I thought you said it wasn't going to be as rough.
Messy, very messy, but a timely tackle by Trevor McCallum sends Alex Bunbury tumbling, and then the ball's unceremoniously kicked into touch, and Hamilton, for some reason, get the throw in.
Bunbury and McCallum. Landry gets a boot on it. And Harrington now will try to get something started for Toronto. But on that one offensive play, everybody except for one player, Landry, had moved forward for Toronto. The try by Marinero as he went for the far post.
I'm sure that Tony Taylor said to his team at halftime, okay, on Wednesday night, we saw Edmonton lead Vancouver by 3 goals. Vancouver came back and won 5-3. We're trailing by 1 goal now. Let's keep our calm. Let's just play it around. Let's take it as it comes, but don't panic. There's only 1 goal behind. We've come back before against these Hamilton Steelers when there were 2 goals ahead. So let's not do anything silly. Just keep it tight at the back and take our chances when they come.
Bunbury gives it away. Pignatello. Pesce-Solido. Sanchez for Hooper. To the far side for Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald will try it himself, and there's Dolan.
And John Fitzgerald, who's a natural right winger, on the left wing, cutting in so that the ball's on his favorite right foot. Hit it well, but Paul Dolan got across to smother it. Fitzgerald cracks it. It takes a nasty skip, but Dolan covers it at the near post. Takes the rebound before Sanchez can follow up.
Hooper at midfield. Gets away from Purdy's mark. Foul zone. Fitzgerald. Sanchez is in the middle. Pignatello is moved up as well. Hooper for Carl Fletcher. Fletcher tries to get it through and can't. And now the Steelers a little guilty, Graham, of starting to lay back. Pan-Hewson with Gasparini challenging. And Pan-Hewson will bring it the other way. Ferguson for Bunbury at midfield. For Marinero to Purdy on the far side. Gasparini and Marinero are at the top of the box. Purdy with the throw in. McCallum. The long ball looking for Sanchez or Fitzgerald is broken up.
Good ball.
Nice ball on the far side for Lucio Ianiero, and then the tackle to put it into touch. And Tony Pignatello.
Pesce-Solido. Paul Pesce-Solido all the way back there. Good hustle by the youngster. You know, at times it's so dark over in that 4 corner, you can hardly see what's going on.
I just got my P's mixed up. Pignatello and Pesce-Solido.
2 great young players, and Tony Pignatello been out with a nasty knee injury. I'm sure that Tony Taylor's delighted to have him back and fit again. Obviously not 100% match fit, but I tell you, Tony Pignatello is a great midfielder.
Harrington. Moros wondering what he got called for.
Well, I think some of these decisions are a little generous, to say the least. You have to challenge, and that was a fair challenge. He won the ball, but I'm sitting up here, and Mr. Mike Seifert is down there with all the pressure on him.
Hooper for Fletcher. Cuts it into the middle, and he stubbed his toe on the pass. And now it's Drew Ferguson bringing it the other way. Bunbury, what a nice dummy as it slides through for Purdy. And the pass to the near side given away. Jerry Gray slips. Sanchez to the middle. Fitzgerald calling for it on the far side. Fitzgerald gets it across. Oh, and it's headed away by Morrow as Hooper was there for Toronto. Bunbury. Marinero. Marinero and Falzon collide, and Falzon charged with the foul.
Well, this is a similar tackle when Gary Morrow collided with Pesci Solido and Morrow got booked. That was a similar tackle, but it seems as if Mike Seifert has forgotten where his yellow card is, because inconsistency is the name of the game. And it looks very much as if Trevor McCallum is coming out of the game, and what a blow that is for Toronto. Ed McAnally, a front runner, is going into the game, and Trevor McCallum, a standout for Toronto all season, is out. Trevor McCallum's been playing with a strained hamstring. Perhaps he's aggravated the injury, but to bring in McAnally in place of McCallum, it shows that Tony Taylor wants to put more emphasis on offense. Take out a centre-back, put in a striker, and watch out for the left foot of Ed McAnally.
Ed McNally, Thunderfoot, in his third CSL season, signed as a free agent after he was released by Ottawa and had 2 goals so far this year. Ed McNally. Bunbury controls the ball, lays it off. Jerry Gray!
Oh, that would have been a cracker. Jerry Gray set his sights. It was running beautifully. Just hooked it a little, Jerry. Great ball by Alex Bunbury. Lays it square. It's right in Jerry Gray's stride. Cracks it. Goes about 6 foot wide as Pat Harrington tried to close down the angle. From behind the goal, watch Gray keep over the ball. Cracks it beautifully. Just hooks it a little like he does his golf drives.
Jerry Gray, Hector Marinero have a chat. Jerry Gray, 40 international caps for Canada. The 29-year-old in his second CSL season last year with Ottawa, this year with Hamilton, has played in the North American League, in the Major Indoor Soccer League, and now in the CSL.
And a great competitor. If you wanted somebody to dig for you in midfield, pick Jerry Gray, folks.
Pesci Solido.
Handball against the youngster. What a try, Paul, but you didn't get away with it. Referee Mike Seifert right on the spot. He can't believe it. Great little try, Paul. Great try.
Boyne for Bunbury, gets away from the shove, and now advantage. It looked like they were going to play advantage, and then Mr. Seifert decided to finally blow the whistle.
Good decision by Mike Seifert. He's right there to see if it was an advantage or not an advantage. He allowed about 2 seconds to see if the play would develop in Bunbury's favor. It didn't. Gave the free kick. Now let's see if Hamilton will take the time and swing this ball high to the far post. They've got nobody up there right now. They're going to play it wide.
Gasparini. Boyne cuts it in for Bunbury. And Bunbury again guilty of doing a little backing in to Carl Fletcher.
Well, he may have been backing in, but I think Mike Seifert give that for handball as Bunbury tried to control that ball. It bounced up and hit him in the hand, and maybe Alec did pull it down with his hands, but Mike Seifert right there this time to give the free kick to Toronto.
1-0, Hamilton leading. on a goal at just 2 minutes by Alec Bunbury, and it has stood the test of time.
But the big question is, will it stand the test of full time?
33 minutes still remaining.
Well, the free kicks are fast and furious. Ed McAnally shows some great skills, but Gary Murray decides that's enough, Ed. You're not going any further. Great left foot, Ed McNally. Lots of talent.
Talzon plays it through for Sanchez, and it goes too far to Dolan. Dolan to the near side for Chazaretta. Marinero. And this is how Paul Dolan looks at it. Gasparini cuts it back. Jerry Gray, one-time volley.
Great support by Jerry Gray, and what a marvelous run by Gasparini. Gasparini is pulling off the defenders so well. Cuts it back to Gray. That's almost impossible to side foot that volley in from there, folks. Believe me. Tough chance. Great run by Gray. Beautiful cut back by Amadeo Gasparini. He's made some great runs this evening. He could well be our fastest player of the game. Hope you'll join in with us, folks, and help me pick one.
Cassius Alito at midfield for McNally. Sanchez. Oh, what a nice tackle by Boyne to slow him up and then allow Ferguson to come over. Guido Boyne, the former national youth team member from Mohawk College in his first CSL season. Guido Boyne. Sergio Sanchez. McNally, watch the left foot. Oh, just chips it this time as it just didn't open up for him, and then Morrow clears it away.
Well, there's been some tough tackling in this game, and there you see both players, Sanchez and Chazaretta, having a go at each other. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, folks. As I said before, it's a man's game, and they're playing it tough out there.
Sanchez and Chazaretta, a couple of Argentinians who know each other well from the Argentinian leagues.
And that's unusual to see Paul Dolan kick the ball from hands. He loves to put it on the ground and kick it like a free kick. Not many goalkeepers do that, but Dolan does it well.
Chazaretta near side. Makes the turn, gets it across, chested down and cleared. Bunbury, oh, Bunbury does well to get over and take it away.
Oh, handball, that could be a yellow card. Well, seems like the rules don't work in this game, folks. Just make it them up as you go along. A deliberate handball like that has to be a yellow card. There's no doubt about it. There it comes out, a little late, but number 14, Tom Van-Hoosen, a deliberate handball. Mike Seifert has no option but to give him the yellow card.
Well, he called him away from the crowd before he issued his booking. Marinero is over the ball, so is Drew Ferguson.
Well, we've seen Drew Ferguson hook a couple and slice a couple from here. Maybe he'll try his luck again. He's hit 2 beauties on our TSN telecast for Hamilton. But he's standing at the wrong angle because Drew likes to hit it with his right foot, not his left foot. He's got to come further behind the ball. Unless he's going to try and slice this one. Maybe Marinero will hit it.
Marinero will try it, and there's Harrington.
2 old teammates, Hector Marinero and Pat Harrington. They've tried free kicks like that for the last 3 years. Pat Harrington knew exactly what his former teammate Hector Marinero was going to do. I thought perhaps Drew Ferguson would have hit it, but Hector Marinero curves it nicely, but Harrington reads it well. Easy save for the young goalkeeper who's had 10 shutouts in regular season play this year.
Purdy gets it through. Oh,
ooh, what a timely interception that was by Sanchez.
Sanchez just able to get the ball away from Chazaretta, who had made the run.
That's a free kick against Hamilton. Chazaretta made a back there for Van Hoosen, and free kick right away. Mike Seifert getting into the game now and making the calls right as they happen.
Van Hoosen looks upfield. And Ferguson clears it right back. Pignatello. Jerry Gray volleys it downfield, and Harrington says, don't bother, I'm right here.
And right now, Hamilton look pretty confident, but there's 28 minutes to go. The danger period for Hamilton is the last 10 minutes. They have a habit of giving up goals in the last 10 minutes. They've been ahead so many times on our telecasts and given up goals in the later stages.
Jerry Gray makes the run as it opens up, and Hooper hustling back. Nice play by Marinero to get over, and Hooper staying with Jerry Gray, and the bump by Hooper, and the call is on the Blizzard midfielder.
And I think Jerry Gray was very grateful for this little bump, because he'd made about 3 runs. He's struggling to get to this ball. Lyndon Hooper sort of gives him a nudge from the back, and fatigue sets in as Jerry Gray falls over. But good hustle by Lyndon Hooper. He's another competitor in midfield. He doesn't give anything away. But what a great run by Jerry Gray.
Gray, across the box, Morrow hits it down, yes! And now Pat Harrington comes out to challenge the referee, Mr. Seifert.
Well, Pat Harrington is convinced that Amadeo Gasparini was offside when he tapped that ball in. It was won cleanly by Gary Morrow, no argument about that. But whether Gasparini was offside or not, that's what Harrington is complaining about. Watch Gary Morrow nod the ball in. Now watch Gasparini standing there. No, it looked as if he took a couple of paces, then he knocked it in. It's a great free kick by Jerry Gray. Gary Morrow, the big centre-back, nods it forwards. Watch Gasparini. Whoa, he looks offside there. He nods it in. Should have been offside, could have been offside, but from up here, the angles differ. Gasparini gets away with one. It's 2-0 for the Hamilton Steelers.
And Amadeo Gasparini's goal comes at 63 minutes. And it's 2-0 Hamilton. And the Steelers come looking for more. Finally cleared away and off of Jerry Gray. Sanchez upfield for the Blizzard. And now it's headed into touch. The question, of course, was it offside?
Well, the ball's knocked back in. Right now, there you see the goal shot. He looks offside to me, but the linesman, Eric Evans, on the far side, kept his flag down. That's what counts. Referee Mike Seifert allowed the goal. Whatever we say doesn't count. It's 2-0 for the Hamilton Steelers, and Gasparini looked to me as if he got away with one.
Sanchez can't turn, and he heels it into touch, and it'll be a Steeler throw-in. And Gasparini ran right for the trophy. Held it up to the Steeler fans, and maybe a little bit premature. Let's remember, as you've mentioned again, Hamilton with a 2-0 lead in a telecast we did, and then they started to lay back, and the Blizzard took the game to them and tied it.
Very premature, I would say, as the saying goes, it's never over till the fat lady sings, but right now it looks as if the fat lady's warming up, so...
Chazaretta. And Landry nods it back for Harrington.
If I were a Hamilton Steeler player, I would never, ever go towards that trophy and pick it up, leading 2-0 with about 50 minutes to go, because I've seen so many leads disappear.
Oh, Sanchez! Oh, and out comes Dolan. Oh, my! The ball skipped through the Steeler defense. Sanchez had a chance, and Dolan was right there.
And Hamilton are standing appealing for offside. They don't get it. It's a great run by Sanchez. Instead of chipping it, he tries to go around Paul Dolan. The big keeper manages to parry it, and the chance is gone for the Toronto Blizzard. A great chance for Sanchez. It was running beautifully for him to chip it over Dolan. He decided to go around the keeper, and I tell you what, going around a 6'3" goalkeeper is pretty tough, folks, as Sergio Sanchez found out. And that's what I was speaking about. With a 2-0 lead, don't count Toronto out, because Hamilton have a habit of giving up. Not only a habit, a history of giving up late goals.
Marinero with the throw in for Bunbury. Fletcher in between to bring it the other way. Fletcher gets away from a couple. Now the foul is called on Marinero, and it'll be a Blizzard free kick.
And once again, Mike Seafoot just allows a little second to see if there was an advantage, then blows it down. It's a pretty good rule, that, to give 1-2 seconds to it to decide if the advantage is there. They do it so well in rugby union, where they allow the play to develop. If it doesn't turn out to be an advantage, they bring it back. That's a rule soccer may like to have a look at now and again.
Marinero at midfield, comes to the near side for Chazaretta. This is Carl Fletcher. The Blizzard trailing 2-0. Chip through, Sanchez, Ferguson. Sanchez couldn't get around the veteran Ferguson. Marinero for Hamilton. Falzon does well to keep it in play. Panhusen. Fletcher looking for Hooper, and it was cut off by Jerry Gray. Marinero near side. Gasparini makes a run. Still in play. Bunbury is in the middle of the box if they get the ball across. Chips it over, and over Bunbury as well. Purdy on the far side. Lays it back for Marinero. Bunbury. Gray and Harrington. They've tried that a couple of times now. Pesce-Salido makes the run, and Ferguson is there again. And Ferguson plays him perfectly again.
Well, you can't keep them out for too long. Just watch Alex Bunbury knock this back to Hector Marinero. You can't hit them much better than that. But Pat Harrington right on the 5-yard line to pick it out. Just a great save, and good build-up, good shot, good soccer all the way around. And as we saw at the other end, the old head of Drew Ferguson once again winning out over the young legs of Pesce-Salido. But don't count Pesce-Salido out yet, folks. The youngster can get back in this game very, very quickly.
Ed McNally will take this corner kick. 20 minutes remaining. Skips by Panhusen. Gasparini could put a lock on it right here.
Oh, that has to be another booking, and he has to go. If you don't book him for that, he's not going to book him because he's already booked him. Well, Gasparini is clean through. Panhusen pulls him down from the back. Panhusen has been booked before, so referee Mike Seaford realizes if he books him again, he has to send him off. If that wasn't a blatant foul deserving a booking, then I shouldn't be sitting up here. But if you chicken out and don't make the right decisions in a cup final, then you shouldn't be in the middle running the game. Panhusen should be sitting in the dressing room right now for a very, very deliberate foul on Gasparini. Gasparini got away with an offside. Okay, we can give Panhusen away a booking there. But that was a foul that deserved the booking, and Panhusen should be gone.
Ferguson is there over the ball. Jerry Gray is there as well. Chazaretta. Ferguson. Oh, just missed.
Great shot.
It's 2-0 Hamilton, leading the Blizzard. Foster's CSL playoffs on TSN.
Ferguson hit free kicks before. We've seen him score twice. He hits this one as well as he's ever hit one, but it just goes wide of the far post. Harrington nowhere.
Jerry Gray gets away from Sanchez, lays it off for Gasparini. And Jerry Gray goes down.
And Jerry Gray is not going to get the free kick. The ball was given offside against Gasparini, who had moved wide on the wing. And I tell you what, some of these decisions, I just don't know where they're coming from, but they don't make sense.
Boyne upfield for Gasparini. Landry then boots it back for the Blizzard. Now, long balls are not going to do the Blizzard any good at all. They've got to work the ball upfield, don't they?
Well, if they're going to work the ball upfield, they're going to have to get past Purdy, Marinaro, Gray and Chazaretta in midfield, and that seems to have been the stumbling block for Tony Taylor and his Blizzards this evening. And Jerry Gray was very prophetic when we asked him at half-time if Purdy, Morrow and Bunbury would have to be careful. He said, no, I don't think that the referee will book two players twice because he'd have to send them off. How prophetic, Jerry, because Panhusen got away with one.
17.5 minutes remaining in regulation time. And remember, if they are tied at the end of 90 minutes, they'll play a 30-minute overtime. And a full overtime, and then if it's still tied, they'll go to kicks.
And also remember that the danger period is still to arrive for Hamilton, the last 15, 14, 13 minutes.
Good job by Ferguson to cut off that ball, because had it gone through, Pesha Salido was right there. Give away, McNally fights off Chazaretta. McNally, if he can get it through, does flick it through, headed away. And now Guido Boyne upfield. And into touch, and it will be a Blizzard throw-in.
And Gasparini allowed that ball to run for a throw-in, thinking it was his. It was never yours, Amadeo, never ever.
Panhusen quickly back to Harrington. 2-0. Alex Bunbury at 2 minutes. Amadeo Gasparini at 63, and the Steelers look like they will advance to the CSL final for the 3rd straight year.
And Gasparini's goal, a little bit of history, because he's the only player other than Alex Bunbury to have scored in an Eastern final.
Marinaro called on the foul, then booted the ball away, and here it comes, yellow card for Hector Marinaro.
Well, I tell you what, how do you spell inconsistency, folks? S-C-I-F-E-R-T, Mike Seifert. Unbelievable.
Well, his defense was he didn't hear the whistle. Panhusen too far for Fitzgerald and over the end line. And this is good. Fitzgerald runs to get the ball for Dolan, who's taking his time. Into touch, and it'll be a Steeler throw-in. Gray for Marinaro, and he just kicks it into touch to waste time. And you can't blame him for that. They're up 2-0.
They're up 2-0 with 14 minutes to go, and this is the danger time for the Hamilton Steelers. They can get past the next 10 minutes. They'll win this game for sure, but they've done it so often before. I hate to say it, but we've seen it right here on TSM.
Sanchez leaves it for Landry, for Pesha Salido, who's working against Boyne. Pesha Salido off of Boyne, and it'll go over the end line. It'll be a Blizzard corner.
And Ed McNally with his left foot will hit this in-swinger right to the far post.
Top of the box, punched away. Yes! And it's again Carl Fletcher getting the goal as he did in Wednesday's game to tie it. Fletcher moving up from his fullback spot to nod in the tying, or at least the first goal for the Blizzard, and it's now 2-1.
Well, Ed McNally swings it to the far post. Paul Dolan can only pan it as he gets hit by red shirt, and Carol Fletcher follows up to knock it in. Hamilton Steelers complaining bitterly that Paul Dolan was fouled on the way up, but it was his own player that did it, and Carol Fletcher is there to knock it in. It's 2-1. Don't go away, folks. As we said, these Hamilton Steelers have a history of giving up goals in the last 12, 13, 14 minutes.
Carl Fletcher. And these teams do not like each other. It's evident. It could be a very, very rough final 12 and a half minutes. Fitzgerald trying to force the Steelers to make a mistake, and Iernero plays it back for Dolan.
And Jerry Gray is saying to his team, settle down. We've been through this before. Let's just take it nice and easy.
Sanchez for Hooper, near side. McNally pushed into touch. It'll be a Blizzard throw-in. Sanchez working against Boyne. Sanchez, and now Ferguson upfield. Gives it away. Hooper, top of the box. McNally across. And the near side linesman, Mr. Brian Summersby, may have called offside here, Graham.
Well, who knows what he called. Looked very much as if the red shirt on the far side was the last man back, but
Tony Pignatello. Dolan from the more customary ball on the ground, upfield. The foul called on the Blizzard. 2-1. Ferguson for Chazaretta. Pignatello marking him. Gets it across. Still in the box. Purdy couldn't get there. Fitzgerald coming back late.
Well, there's been lots of late tackles coming in this evening. Ball way over the ball. And I tell you what, there's some players out there who are very, very, very fortunate to be still in the game. That was a vicious tackle. No need for it at all.
And the yellow card was given to John Fitzgerald.
Well, it's certainly been a colourful game. There's been so many yellow cards out there that you tend to lose track of them.
Hector Chazaretta, the injured player, as they work and flex his right knee. And nobody warming up on the sideline for the Steelers if head coach Vid Horvat is contemplating putting in any kind of substitution.
Well, if he's going to put anybody in, he's going to put Billy Domacetis in, because Chazaretta, I'm sure, would be replaced by Billy Domacetis. That really was a bad tackle. To go that far over the ball in this game, there's no place for that at all. That's how legs get broken. You don't like to see that. And right now it's Robbie Clew who's warming up, as Vid Horvath maybe looking for a midfielder instead of a front runner to try and preserve this 2-1 lead. There's Robbie Clew. He'll do a job for you if he comes in, for sure. And let's see if Drew Ferguson will have a go from here.
And Chazaretta is up and walking it off. And it was Hector Marinero that tried it himself and was way wide of the far post. The stadium clock says 8.5 minutes. And I'm sure there'll be some extra time tacked on as Mr. Seifert has been punching his watch.
And that 8.5 minutes will seem like 8.5 hours for Vid Horvath and the whole Hamilton Steelers squad. And it'll seem like 8.5 days to Mario Di Bartolomeo, the Hamilton Steelers owner, for sure.
Falzon makes the run, gets it across. Box, Sanchez couldn't get there, cleared away. Landry up quickly. McNally. Near side, Hooper, and it's headed away by Jerry Gray. Marinero for Bunbury. Panhusen hustles over to Mark. Gasparini, Marinero have moved up. Bunbury trying to slide the ball through for Marinero, and it didn't go. Sanchez brings down Jerry Gray.
Well, Mr. Seifert must be tired. He's spoken to every single player on the field this evening. He's told them, don't do that again. They've done it 100 times, and he still says, don't do that again. Seems to me a waste of time.
Jerry Gray is up quickly, though. Will take this free kick. Now complaining about Sanchez not being back, the 10 yards. Headed away now and cleared finally by the Blizzard. Ed McNally on the far side. Works against Purdy and does a nice job to get away. For Pignatello. Forward for Pesce-Salido. And Boyne plays it into touch. And the pass for Pignatello doesn't work, and it'll be a throw-in for the Steelers. And Mr. Seifert making sure that Chazaretta takes it from the right spot for Gasparini. Cleared into the box, and no problem for Dolan as Sanchez was up and pressing. 2-1, Hamilton leading, the winner to go to the Eastern Final against either Edmonton or Vancouver, the CSL Final. Panhusen back and plays it for Harrington. And a good crowd on hand at Centennial Stadium. And many Steelers supporters have made the trip as well from Hamilton.
And the difference is the Steelers supporters are hoping that the score stands. The Toronto Blizzard supporters are hoping they're going to get 30 minutes of overtime, then a penalty shootout. Because right now their Blizzards trail 2-1. And there's 4.5 minutes to go, folks, but don't go away. It's not over yet.
Falzon on the far side, and it goes into touch. It'll be a throw-in for the Blizzard, and time wasting a little bit by Purdy.
There's the score, 2-1 with 4.5 minutes to go, folks.
Another Blizzard throw in for McNally. Falzon. Too far for Hooper. Oh, bad giveaway by Ferguson, but he recovers to clear it upfield. Purdy can't get away. Jerry Gray at midfield, plays it all the way back.
And what a game Jerry Gray's had. He has to be one of the favorites for Foster's player of the game. outstanding game. I've never seen him hustle and tackle and provide service so well.
And it'll be a Blizzard throw-in. Ferguson. Pesce-Solido tried to slide through and couldn't, and there was no foul called on Boyne, and the Blizzard were looking for one. We talked about a good crowd. Look at this, 3,257 on hand at Centennial Stadium to see this game between the Blizzard and the Steelers.
Beautiful crowd. Only question I have to ask is, where were they for the rest of the season? Because the games have just been like this, guys. You should have been here earlier.
Bunbury gets away. Purdy cuts it in for Gasparini, and it's cleared away by Landry. And over the end line, and it'll be a Steeler corner. If you're a member of the Blizzard and you're a fan of the Blizzard, you must have to wonder what they have to do to beat Hamilton. 3 times unlucky. It looks that way with 2 minutes now on the stadium clock, and Hamilton leading 2-1. Chazaretta headed away by Fletcher. Chazaretta. For Jerry Gray, who plays it through, and now Harrington out and quickly upfield. Pignatello midfield for Toronto. For McNally, through for Pesce-Solido, and it's cleared by Boyne. And Amadeo Gasparini trying to walk off maybe a groin pull or some kind of knock. He has what could be now the game-winning goal for Hamilton. A disputed goal, certainly, because it looked as if he may have been offside, and Gasparini is coming out of the game, and Robbie Clew is going in.
And Gasparini getting a round of booing from the crowd here at Centennial Stadium. And that should be a goal kick.
And it is, says Mr. Seifert.
And there was no argument about that. Paul Pesce-Solido tried so hard this evening, but against the wily veteran Drew Ferguson has got little change. Don't worry, Paul, your deal comes, son. May even come this evening. There's still 2 minutes to go. And anything can happen when the Toronto Blizzard play the Hamilton Steelers, as Paul Dolan very well knows.
And you can hear Dolan banging his shoe against the goalpost as he tries to get some of the mud out from underneath his cleats. Landry upfield. It may be the last chance for the Blizzard. Hooper can't get through. Jerry Gray. Bunbury and Fletcher at midfield. And pushed into touch by Sanchez, and it'll be a throw-in for Hamilton. The foul on Bunbury as he backed into Ferguson.
And not a very good foul to give away at this stage of the game. It allows Toronto to knock high ball right into the area.
And they'll get another chance for the throw-in. Desperation time for the Toronto Blizzard. They trail 2-1. McNally for Hooper. Gets it across. Pesce-Solido was there, but it's headed away. Ferguson has moved up. The former Steeler comes to the near side for Sanchez. and he can't control it, and it'll be a Steeler throw-in.
And now the clock is entirely in the hands of Mike Seifert. He's the one who decides when the final whistle blows. And Jerry Gray is obviously going to take his time. He's not going to be in any hurry to throw this ball in.
For Marinero, who flicks it forward, it'll be a blizzard throw in. Pan Houston quickly. And Jerry Gray back upfield. Bunbury and Fletcher. And Bunbury called for the foul.
How can that be a foul when they're both fighting for the ball? Well,
Landry into the box. Here comes Dolan.
now Paul Dolan will just bounce it a couple of times. Try and get little Paul Pesci-Solita to give a foul against him, but he's not going to be in any hurry to kick this ball away because Mike Seifert has to blow his whistle any second now.
And even a smile from Paul Dolan. Purdy. And play back for Harrington. And Mr. Seifert. And the Hamilton Steelers, for the third straight year, are Eastern Division champions of the Canadian Soccer League.
Well, I'm sure the Toronto Blizzard will complain that Amadeo Gasparini's goal was offside, but by the same token, in the first leg, Amadeo Gasparini felt he'd scored a very good goal to give them a win. So I would say that things balance themselves out in this game, folks.
And tempers flaring just a little bit as we say the teams don't like it. Time now for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Converse.
Well, the Converse turning point came 18 minutes into the second half. Jerry Gray knocks a free kick to the far post. Morrow knocks it back in. Gasparini looks offside, but taps it in anyway. 2-0 Hamilton lead. Well, is this offside? Gasparini looks miles offside there, but like a good striker, he nods it in anyway. The goal counted. Hamilton led 2-0. That's our Converse turning point.
A cash donation will be made to Amateur Sport on behalf of TSN and Converse. Congratulations to the Hamilton Steelers and their entire organization, Eastern champions for 1989 with a 2-1 win over Toronto. Foster CSL playoffs on TSN. The Hamilton Steelers win the Eastern Final 2-1 over Toronto. They win the series 3 points to 1. And who's your player of the game?
Well, Mike Foster's player of the game is number 10 of the Hamilton Steelers. Jerry Gray was magnificent. He tackled, he supported. I've never seen him play so well. Jerry Gray, Mike Foster's player of the game.
So Hamilton will play the winner of the Westerns final. Will it be Vancouver or Edmonton? We'll find that out a little later. Hamilton 2, Toronto 1. Hamilton, for the third straight year, win the CSL Eastern Division. So the championship final will be Sunday, October the 1st. It'll either be in Vancouver or in Hamilton, and the Steelers will play either the 86ers or the Brickmen. Promotional consideration has been Chazareta, an ordained minister from Argentina, and he'll continue his preaching when he returns to Argentina for the offseason. Verduzco, Gastus is in the middle. Sarantopoulos has moved up as well. And that's interesting, Graham. Sarantopoulos now has moved up from his backline position on forward movements by the Rockets right into the center of the goal area.
Well, I think he just saw the opportunity to break, and they've got enough people back there, so he will now wander back to his defensive position.
Offside, the call from Mr. Phil Searle, the far side linesman. Peter Sarantopoulos, 21 in his second year, and what a defender he is. Certainly one of the best. And when you look at the 4 defenders for North York, they have 4 of the best in the CSL. Golan with Purdy marking him. Golan gets it across. Berdusco is there, but so is Dolan. Throws it out quickly, and then Jensen pushes off Amadeo Gasparini, and the foul is on Jensen. And even Mr. Aerosmith has to chuckle just a bit. How did you think you're going to get away with that?
Clumsy tackle by Steve Jensen, and not a very intelligent one, simply because Gasparini was the lone man up front. You really shouldn't give away a free kick here. There's nothing that Gasparini could have done with the ball. The North York Rockets had 4 blue shirts back against 1 gold one. And I'm sure that Steve Jensen knows that was a pretty unnecessary free kick he gave to Hamilton. But they've got the ball back again.
Sarantopoulos, Quattarone. Into the middle, Morrow breaks up the pass. This is Bunbury, and he can't control. Coyle now at midfield. Ferguson for Gasparini to Bunbury. And the long ball for Purdy is too far, and Sarantopoulos must hurry, and he does. He plays it back to Ferguson.
And it looks very much as if Peter Felicetti has made another positional switch, and he started off with Jens Kramer and Steve Jensen as the 2 centre backs. He's now moved Jensen to fullback, and he's playing Peter Sarantopoulos as sweeper. Letting Jens Kramer do the tackling and let Peter Sarantopoulos sweep up behind him, and the gap that was caused in the left wing is being plugged by Steve Jensen.
Mark Purdy for the Steelers on the far side. Lofranco wins the ball. No foul, no whistle from Mr. Aerosmith. Play on, he says, and they do. Mix up again by the defenders allows Gasparini to break away for the moment. Jens Kramer, the Rockets captain, 25-year-old, played a couple of years with Hamburg of the Deutsches Bundesliga, and he played also with London Marconi. 3 goals during the regular season. He is a big boy back there in his fullback spot, and always comes forward on the corners too. They like to use him up front because of his size. Kramer for Coyle. Berdusco, top of the box. Looking for the foul, didn't get it. Quattarone, Gastis have all moved up. He plays it back for Quattarone. Coyle will try if he can get the shot away and can't. And Morrow neatly took it right off his foot and plays it to Marinaro. And Coyle slow to get up, and he is now offside and slow to get out. Over the head of Bunbury, and it'll roll and roll, and finally brought back by Sarantopoulos as John Coyle had an opportunity. But the marking very close now, late in this second half. And the Steeler defenders playing it very well, taking it right off the shoes of the Rockets. Gasparini. Jerry Gray. Morrow, Ian Hierro. Ferguson across the middle dangerously, but he gets there in time. Cesaret. For Bunbury, and out comes Ferguson. I think it's fair to say the more confident team, and granted they're leading 1-0, but the more confident team right now is Hamilton, just by the way they're playing.
Well, they're certainly defending very well, but they've got very little up front after they've scored that first goal. And I think these 2 teams perhaps showing a little too much respect for each other. They're a little afraid to try anything in case they give up a bad goal or make a mistake. And usually in a local derby like this and in an important second leg game, it's the team that can take advantage of mistakes that'll win it. And each side is being ultra cautious not to make these mistakes.
Quattarone with the throw in for Gastis. Chazaretta wins the ball and it'll be keeper's ball. 8 minutes remaining. Hamilton lead 1-0. Foster's CSL playoffs on TSN.
Crack open a great light beer. New Foster's Light. It's what's inside who counts.
Welcome back to Brian Timmins Stadium, the second game of the Eastern semifinal. Vic Rowder along with Graham Leggett. Hamilton with a 1-0 lead on North York. The goal by Hector Cesaret at 13 minutes. And little offense since then from either team. Marinero brings down Julian Loy and then offers an apology.
No apology expected.
Loy
Julian Loy wouldn't want an apology from Hector Marinero, I'm sure.
into the middle, headed away by Iniero. Guido Boyne, and you're right, Graham, the Steelers are dropping everybody back beyond the halfway line when the ball is in their end. It's like they're playing. They say, we've got one, let's defend it. And how dangerous that can be. But still more than a half to go. Purdy.
I think the Steelers will be okay till about 10 minutes from time. They have a sort of complex that they keep giving up goals with about 10 minutes to go. Late in the game, had games lasted 60 minutes in this Canadian Soccer League, the Hamilton Steelers would have been so far in front of people it wasn't true. They've given up so many goals in the last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 minutes of play that they've developed a complex about it. So when we get towards that time in the game, have a look out, folks, and see how they react.
John Coyle sends Loy away in this near side into the middle for Lofranco, and it goes off the sliding Moro, and it will be a corner kick. And there you see the Steeler bench. Some of the players on the bench. Dino Perry, there's Billy Domozetis.
Robbie Clue next to Domozetis. I'm sure Domozetis is dying to get into this game. With 13 goals in the regular season, he'd love to play here, I'm sure.
Well, Domozetis a starter in game 1, but on the bench here for game 2 as Vid Horvat elects to go with Bunbury as the starter in this game. Top of the box, Kramer, look for him. Headed away by Gasparini, and now he's down and holding his forehead. He may have cracked heads with Jens Kramer. Though Gasparini laying in the box.
Well, it's a tough game, folks, and when you take a chance and go up, you're bound to clash heads every now and again. That was an elbow that came back by Jens Kramer and caught Amadeo Gasparini right flush on the nose. And oh, that hurts. Believe me, that hurts.
Amadeo Gasparini in his second year, 15 goals, as we told you. The Argentinian had the knock on him, of course, of sometimes being a bit of a lazy player, but many of the great strikers never looked like they were doing anything. They only put the ball in net.
Vid Horvath will agree. He is a lazy player, but he is a striker. And I'll give you a perfect example. I played my second season for Birmingham City against Southampton reserves. This is how Amadeo Gasparini gets injured. Jens Kramer knocks back with his elbow, clips him right on the nose, and he goes down and he's still being treated. But strikers do get tagged about being lazy. I was a striker.
Right.
I played in the reserve team against Southampton reserves at Southampton for Birmingham. I scored 5 goals. We won 5-4. And the next morning, Stan Collins called me into the room and he said, "You weren't tackling back." I said, if I score 5 goals, do you think I have to tackle back? So laziness is relative, isn't it?
And he still won't get up. The trainer actually left him and thought he would get up, and now they're tugging at the jersey of Amedeo Gasparini.
Well, it's tough to tell from here, but it may even have got one elbow from Jens Kramer than the ball flush on the face, and it looks as if Amedeo Gasparini, Hamilton Steelers' top goal scorer, is a little groggy, and now there's a decision to be made by Vid Horvath. Does he take him off right away, or does he give him a chance to get his senses back? Billy Domerset is ready and waiting, I'm sure, but with 2 minutes to go, might be better to bluff it out and see if he can recover at half-time.
And there you see Amedeo Gasparini being now assisted off the field by some teammates along with the training staff, and putting his shin pads into his socks is Billy Domerzetis, who looks like he may get the call a little earlier than we expected as Gasparini heads to the sideline.
I would still try and play out this first half with 2 minutes to go. Try and hold on. Give Gasparini a chance to recover, because if you bring in Billy Domerzetis now, you weaken your bench, and I'm sure that Vid Horvath wants to keep his strength till later on.
And the assistant coach, Victor Ashby, heads right down to find out if he might be able to play. Frank Lofranco will take this free kick. Just a two-man wall this time. Lofranco chips it in for Kramer, and it's headed away by Gary Morrow. Sarantopoulos plays it right back. And did you see that? They were all looking for the offside, but no one was there.
Drew Ferguson, Gary Morrow, Hector Marinaro, Uncle Tom Cobley, and all were putting their hands up for offside, and there wasn't a blue shirt had made a run. Not within 20 yards.
Amedeo Gasparini on the sideline. You see the gentleman in the black tracksuit. That is the assistant coach, Victor Ashby. Still trying to regain his senses. He's saying, hey, the whole world is spinning around here.
Just hang on for another minute, Amedeo. You'll get 10 minutes rest at halftime. You may be fresh as a fiddle for the start of the second half.
Now the stadium clock says 1 minute and counting, Graham, but I suspect there'll be some injury time as well, because we've had a number of players go down in this first half, which Hamilton leads 1-0 on the goal by Hector Chazaretta at 13 minutes. Coyle for the Rockets as they try to get the equalizer before the half runs out. Verduzco slides it back, not far enough. Chazaretta runs right into big Jens Kramer. Played forward for Verduzco, and it's not there. Cleared away by Ferguson. Sarantopoulos for Lofranco. Jerry Gray. Guido Moyne upfield.
And now with no Amedeo Gasparini up front to challenge, the ball's going to keep coming back, but Hamilton have got more than enough people goal side right now.
Lofranco forward, but nobody was there. Verduzco brought down by Mark Purdy, and it'll be a free kick for the Rockets.
And this is where it may hurt them, because now the one man short, Gasparini being off, they're going to have someone unmarked.
And there you see we're into injury time as it played forward. Headed up by Ian Hierro. And Ian Hierro plays it into touch. Lucio Ian Hierro surprises me, Graham, as a little man playing that fullback spot, has played very well.
Little man with a big heart and a ton of confidence and a ton of ability. He was a brilliant midfielder for Canada's national team. He's settled in at fullback. He's so good at fullback because he's very clever on the ball. He can read the game well, and he loves to come forward. He's really enjoying it there, just as Ross Quattrone is enjoying it in midfield for the North York Rockets.
Amedeo Gasparini heads to the dressing room of the Steelers, and we get word that Gasparini will return for the second half, so we'll look for his return in the second half. But right now, he's off to the dressing room. Injury time here in the first half at Brian Timmins Stadium, with Hamilton leading 1-0. Sarantopoulos at midfield, stops, uses the referee as a little bit of a shield for Quattrone. Coyle, Lofranco, little give and go. Coyle is onside. Gastis, Verduzco are in the middle. Verduzco heads it down, and just by that near post.
Oh, and you won't get a much better chance than that, Eddie. That was a brilliant cross by John Coyle. Early ball played in before Hamilton recovered. Eddie Berdusco says, pick that out, Paul. It hits the turf, skids past the post. It should have been on target. You don't try to pick the corner from there. You get it on target, then it goes in. I don't think that North York will get a much better chance than that. That should have been 1-1 at halftime, and I'm sure Eddie Berdusco is shaking his head that he missed that great opportunity.
Eddie Berdusco, who got the lone goal on a header in the second half of the first game on Wednesday night, had a chance there.
But I can understand what Eddie Berdusco was thinking. He thought, Paul Dolan, great goalkeeper, I have to pick the corner. I have to put it wide of him. And when you try to make too sure, just like in a penalty kick, you tend to just knock it an inch wide of the post.
And Mr. Aerosmith checking his watch as we are in injury time. And there is the whistle to end this first half of play. Going back to Brian Timmins Stadium, the team's quickly back out on the field, and the first thing we notice, Graham, is that number 8, Alex Bunbury, is there, and over the ball for Hamilton is number 9, Billy Domazetis. So it looks like Amadeo Gasparini will be on the bench and not return after that little knock in the nose from an elbow of Jens Kramer.
Well, in fairness to Jens Kramer, I think that he gave Gasparini a little nudge, but I think the ball landed flush on Gasparini's face, which added to his woes. And Billy Domazetis, who'd scored just 2 less than Gasparini in the regular season, is now taking his place up front for the Hamilton Steelers. And I do honestly think that Vid Horvath is confident that this really won't handicap or weaken his Hamilton Steelers side one little bit.
Quattaroni makes his way over for the throw-in. Now, he doesn't have as much room, but this throw-in by Quattaroni can be as dangerous as any corner kick, because watch where it winds up into the box and headed away by Ferguson. Loy wins the ball, cleared away by Morrow. Coyle to the far side. Guido Boyne over, and it'll run into touch, and it'll be a throw-in for Hamilton. The opening goal of the game came at 13 minutes from Hector Cesaret.
And it came on a great cross by Guido Boyne. Hector Marinaro knocks it to Cesaret. He clips it beautifully. Don Ferguson gets a fingertip to it, but can't hold it. There's the goal scorer, Hector Cesaret. Midfielder, loves to come forward. Took that goal very well. Ferguson a little unfortunate, but Ferguson stoned Cesaret later on in the first half. So I think they're all square right now.
A substitution for North York, and into the game is number 10, Victor Quinney. Played for San Diego of the MISL in his first season. Quinney replacing number 15 for the Rockets, Peter Gastis.
And that's not a bad move, because Peter Gastis had made a couple of good runs, but had been relatively ineffectual in the first half.
Quattaroni has to hustle to beat Purdy and plays it back to Ferguson. There you see Billy Domazetis called on to replace Amadeo Gasparini. So both teams now have made one substitution entering this second half, with Hamilton leading 1-0. And remember, both teams allowed 3 substitutions.
And I'm sure the ace up Peter Felicetti's sleeve is that Vladen Tomic is still sitting on the bench. Is reported to have a pulled hamstring. He didn't start. The North York Rockets' top goal scorer may come on if the North York Rockets continue to trail 1-0.
Well, I mentioned that to the Rockets owner, Basil Policaro, before we began our interview, and he said, of course, you know, hamstrings are one of those things that are nagging. And the doctor said he was 50-50 before the game. Well, he's got the entire season to recover if he doesn't help the team out and they don't get beyond this game. So we still may see Vladen Tomic.
Well, doctors can say it's 50-50, but the only person who knows what it feels like is the player himself. And if he doesn't want to play, there's no way you can make him play.
John Coyle plays it in, and it goes absolutely nowhere. Out west, Edmonton, with a scoreless tie against Calgary, advance. They win the series over the Calgary Strikers 3-1, and so they will meet Vancouver starting Wednesday night with Game 1 in Edmonton, and we will have that game for you on TSN from Clark Stadium at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Vancouver and Edmonton, the CSL playoffs on TSN.
And Vancouver can't be looking forward to going into Edmonton. Edmonton, the team that beat their record-setting undefeated streak.
And of course, the Brickmen led by their player coach Justin Fashanu. And we'll be looking forward to seeing Mr. Fashanu, because we haven't any time we've been to Edmonton this season. Any games we've had with the Brickmen, he's always been on the sidelines because of penalties.
Well, it's been a good weekend for the Fashanu family. His brother scored the winning goal for Wimbledon on Saturday.
Ooh, the chance right there by Lofranco, who had the one-time volley and just put it by the far left-hand corner.
Well, we've seen the power of Frank Lofranco. He takes a short ball from Eddie Berdusco, cracks it well, but it just sails high over Paul Dolan's goal. Great effort by Frank Lofranco. He really has got a powerful shot. And Peter Filicetti, obviously a little concerned that his team is trailing 1-0. Remember, this is total points, not total goals.
Lofranco makes a run, and then Dolan is there, the Steelers keeper. That would be great news for the Rockets if they would have a new facility to play in on the campus of York University. 8,000 seats, covered seating. That would be something compared to Esther Shiner, which is a nice park to play in. But it's really a transformed high school field for all intents and purposes, and it's a little cramped at times, and their best accommodation could maybe be 2,200.
Would be a great facility up at North York, and if we went to do a North York Rockets game, I can have a game of tennis at the North York Tennis Center in the afternoon.
That's right, because, oh,
just
you know, the National...
Make it a complete day,
National Tennis Center is right there, hosting the Players Challenge and Players International on alternate years. Metro Track and Field Center is there. The Bobby Orr Sports Clinic, quite the facility, sports facility now being developed at York University on the northern boundary of metropolitan Toronto. Berdusco, Coyle, if he can get it. Coyle. Ferguson right in his face. Now he chips it through, and there was nobody there. But it was interesting. Lofranco and Coyle seemed to get in each other's way because Coyle wanted to tee it up.
Yeah, but Hamilton Steelers are doing such a good job of closing up every opportunity. We've seen 3-4 times this evening where a North York Rockets player has been tempted to have a crack at it, and the angle's been cut out by a yellow shirt, so he takes another touch. By that time, there's 3 more yellow shirts have filled the gap.
Guido Boyne to Bunbury, lays it back for Hector Marinero. This is Bunbury, tried to play it through, and it was the run by Guido Boyne through the middle.
He needed an early ball. The more touches Hamilton took on it, the further and further Guido Boyne was running offside. It really was a good run by Guido Boyne. Alex Bunbury can't get to him quick enough, and there you see Guido Boyne on the right of your picture, way offside.
Sarantopoulos gets it across, flicked away. Chazaretta slides it for Purdy and back. Nice one-touch passing. Then finally surrounded by blue shirts, and the foul is on the Rockets.
And the foul is against the Rockets, but it's on Chazaretta, and Chazaretta had an outstanding game so far. Must be one of our candidates for the Foster's Player of the Game Award. Hope you'll join in with us at home, folks. See if you and I can agree for once.
It'll be a Steeler throw-in on this near side. The referee, Mr. Gordon Arrowsmith. The two lines.
But today it's going to be different. Hi, I'm Drew Ferguson of the Hamilton Steelers. We've reached 2 consecutive CSL finals by beating the Toronto Blizzard. Today I'm very confident we can do it for a 3rd time.
And I'm Vic Rowder. Tonight, Game 2 of the CSL Eastern Final. The battle continues between Hamilton and Toronto, Chapter 3. Hamilton has won the first 2 by just a single goal. Now Randy Reagan battles Bunbury. Bunbury is through. Bunbury, he's there. Yes! There's the matchup. Costello back to defend, but Gasparini gets away. Bunbury is in the middle. If he gets it over, yes! This year, Hamilton finished 2nd in the CSL's Eastern Division, setting up a semi-final battle with the North York Rockets. Hector Cesaretta's goal gave the Steelers a 3-1 win in the series. So once again, the Eastern Final, Hamilton, Toronto, 3rd straight year. In Game 1 Wednesday in Hamilton, Gary Morrow gave the Steelers a 1-0 lead. It looked like Hamilton had their 2nd goal when Amadeo Gasparini broke away to beat Pat Harrington. But the referee called it back, saying no goal, calling dangerous play. Gasparini couldn't believe it. It remained 1-0. Toronto got the equalizer late 2nd half. Carl Fletcher beats Paul Dolan. It ended in a 1-1 tie. The series tied 1-1, now heading into the deciding Game 2. Foster's Lager, the Golden Throat Charmer, proudly presents the CSL playoffs on TSN. It's all going to be decided at Centennial Stadium. Game 2 of the Eastern Final, the Hamilton Steelers and the Toronto Blizzard. Hello again, everybody. I'm Vic Rowder. Welcome to Centennial Stadium on a cool evening. We even have the sweaters on for the first time this year. The Bunbury factor. That's what it's become known as. Alex Bunbury has been a Blizzard killer. Tony Taylor, the head coach of Toronto, knows that. He's standing by now with Graham Leggett.
Tony, in our last telecast, the Blizzard have lined up with 3 men at the back. Tonight against the Steelers, you're going with 4 at the back. Why the change?
Well, we expect the Steelers to play with 3 forwards, Domazettis, Bunbury and Gasparini. So we'll mark them and then play with a spare man.
Now, in the last 2 Eastern Finals, you've lost by 1-0 to these very same Steelers. Can you turn the tables tonight?
I think we will. I think we'll beat the Steelers tonight, and then we'll go on to the final.
Tony, thanks for joining us. Good luck.
Thanks very much.
Back to you, Vic.
Graham, Vid Horvat's Steelers lineup is intact. That's just the way he wants it, of course. However, Tony Taylor is missing a couple of key players. Joe Masher usually starts on the wing in midfield. He is out because of cards, while David Byrne, an 8-year member of the Blizzard, no longer with the team. He has returned to his home in Minnesota. The Bunbury factor. Will Alex Bunbury be the factor in this one? The Eastern Final Cup. That's what Hamilton and Toronto are playing for. Foster CSL playoffs on TSN. Game 2 of the Eastern Final of the CSL, the Hamilton Steelers and the Toronto Blizzard. Hello there. A good crowd on hand for what we expect will be a tremendous game. Graham, let's check the starting lineup for the Hamilton Steelers and head coach Vid Horvat.
Well, he's gone with his 4-4-2. Dolan in goal, Ian Yerro, Morrow, Ferguson and Bowen in the back 4. Pordy, Marinaro, Cesaret and Gray in midfield, and Bunbury and Gasparini up front.
And the starting 11 for Tony Taylor and the Blizzard.
Well, they're going 4-3-3. Harrington in goal, Fletcher, McCallum, Penhusen and Landry. The back 4, Pignatello, Hooper and Falzon in midfield, and up front Fitzgerald, Bessie Solido and Sanchez.
And now our national anthem. And there's the starting keeper for the Hamilton Steelers, the 22-year-old Paul Dolan. There you see the goals against of 1 goal even, number 2 in the league, behind Paolo Ceccarelli of the North York Rockets. And the starting keeper for the Toronto Blizzard, he played every minute of every game this year. Pat Harrington, in his 3rd season, a member of the national team, an '88 All-Star, and he had 10 shutouts. Tonight's referee is Mr. Mike Seifert of Calgary. The linesman on the near side, Mr. Brian Summersby. The far side linesman, Eric Evans. And the 4th official is Mr. George Botic. It's fair to say these teams, Graham, do not like each other, and I suspect that we may see some indication of that.
Well, it's a man's game, Vic, and it'll be a tough game. There's a lot at stake. They know each other so well. They respect each other so well, but they'd love to beat each other so well.
The Hamilton Steelers in their traditional gold and black uniforms. The Toronto Blizzard in what has become their now traditional red and white, dating back to their days, of course, in the North American Soccer League. And we're underway here at Centennial Stadium. Fletcher on the far side puts it into touch. This field at Centennial Stadium in bad shape. You can see it. There was a game this afternoon, a National Soccer League game. It has a lot of bumps, a lot of holes, and it can be a factor too.
It can be a factor, but it's the same for both sides, and obviously the field will cause a few mistakes. Whoever capitalizes on these mistakes should win it. As we've said so often, in a game like this, the first goal is so very, very important.
Oh, and the ball just slides by Bunbury.
Of course, we said that last week in our telecast when the Vancouver 86ers visited Edmonton. We said the first goal was important. Edmonton got 3 first goals and still lost that game. But tonight, this shouldn't be a high-scoring game by any means.
Bunbury and Fletcher battle on the far side, and the foul is called on Alex Bunbury, and it'll be a Blizzard free kick. Just underway, game 2 of this Eastern Final. The series tied 1 point apiece. Trevor McCallum upfield for the Blizzard, looking for Paul Pescisolito, who is playing in the middle. Trevor McCallum just gives it away, played forward for Gasparini. Gasparini tries the foot. Yes! And moving up quickly was Hector Cesaretta, or was it Marinero, number 22, who put a boot to it? But quickly, it is 1-0 Hamilton.
And the Toronto Blizzard caught napping at the back as Gasparini made a beautiful run. There's our net camera from behind. It could well be Alex Bunbury who gets the final touch to this. Yes, it is. Pat Harrington, no chance, as Bunbury gets on the end of Gasparini's cross. And after 3 minutes, it's 1-0 the Hamilton Steelers, and Bunbury has done it again.
Well, we talked about the Bunbury factor, and quickly it comes into play in game 2 of this Eastern Final. Alex Bunbury had only 3 goals during the regular season, an All-Star a year ago. Alex Bunbury gives Hamilton a quick 1-0 lead on a play that developed very slowly. The Blizzard defenders seemed to be really caught. They were sort of left short at the back.
Great run by Amadeo Gasparini. He moved wide. The covering defense wasn't there for Toronto. I'm not sure if he tried to shoot that ball or hit it hard and low across, but whatever his intentions, the result was absolutely marvelous, and Bunbury got up in time to knock it in. And Bunbury keeps his streak alive as scoring the first goal in every single Eastern Final.
Well, he has been and continues to be a Blizzard killer. Scoring after 2 minutes, Alex Bunbury. Pescisolito can't get away from the mark.
But one thing you have to remember, the last time we televised a game out of here, it was 2-0 Hamilton. About 15 minutes to go, and Toronto came back and equalized, made it 2-2. So Tony Taylor, I'm sure, not too concerned. He's seen this pattern before.
Fletcher with the throw in for Pescisolito. Trevor McCallum has moved up. Pescisolito is in the middle for the Blizzard. This free kick just coming from the edge of the box. And cleared away by the Steelers veteran Jerry Gray. Marinero at midfield. Chips it up, gives it away. Pignatello for Fitzgerald. And Fitzgerald guilty of the bump on Hector Chazaretta, number 6 for the Steelers. Chazaretta leaving the Steeler team just late in the season, returning to Argentina, and now has come back to rejoin the club for the playoff drive. Bunbury. Chazaretta turns and cuts it in, and it's headed away nicely. Falzon cuts it to this near side. Ferguson back to defend, and Pescisolito couldn't get there. Marinero for Purdy, near side. Gasparini is in the middle, and it's played into touch. And it'll be a throw-in. Charlie Falzon had 1 goal, the 27-year-old midfielder, in his 3rd CSL season.
Been out for a long time, Charlie, with a cheek injury, but he's delighted to be back.
Lucio Nero, nice job as Purdy cuts it across. And the offside flag from the near side linesman, Mr. Brian Summersby, as Gasparini backed in behind the defenders, and it'll be keeper's ball, and it'll go for Pat Harrington. Alex Bunbury with the goal at 2 minutes, and it's 1-0 Hamilton. Fletcher nods it forward, cleared away by Ferguson. And Bunbury hoping that Gasparini would break, and he wasn't. Trevor McCallum, the Blizzard captain, looks one way, goes the other. Now upfield, headed down by Guido Boyne, and into touch. Paul Pescisolito playing in the middle, and in previous telecasts you wouldn't play him there up front. You'd play him on the wing.
Well, I prefer him on the wing because he's very quick, and he's a little bit fragile to be playing centre forward, especially against a twosome of Gary Morrow and Drew Ferguson. But the youngsters had an outstanding season, and he can play anywhere.
Well, Pescisolito had 10 goals during the regular season, the #1 draft pick in the 1989 CSL draft out of the Scarborough Blues, but he is tiny at only about 5'9". And going against some of those big center backs, of course, like Drew Ferguson and Gary Morrow, and there are bigger center backs, of course, in the league, that's going to mean an awful lot of punishment.
5'9" is not tiny. If you're 5'8", as I've been since I was 15, 5'9" is not tiny.
Scott Landry with the throw-in for the Blizzard. Hooper, little one-touch for Pescisolito as they try and get it through, and now they go looking for the handball. And Mr. Seifert doesn't call it, as it looked like Ferguson or Morrow may have gotten their hand up on it.
Well, they called for the handball, but it hit him in the chest. There was no danger at all that Duke was going to get a free kick for that. The ball rebounds quickly. Ferguson controls it with his chest. You can see him actually pull his arms out of the way in case there was a danger of handball.
Bunbury at midfield collides with Hooper. Hooper for the Blizzard. To Falzon and back, and it runs into touch, and again the little camber of the field runs away towards the sidelines here, and it picks up speed.
Also, after the game this afternoon, Croatia beat a Quebec side handsomely here this afternoon. They put the sprinklers on now on a very hard field to wet the top of the grass. I don't think it was a good idea, because the players are going to come on with multi-studded cleats to prepare for a hard field. Then they find it slippery on top, and it's going to be very, very dangerous.